Hello, 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 and I'm here with my UFC 7 Fight Island. Just happened yesterday, so my recap happened yesterday. For here in California, it was at 12 noon. Hopefully, you guys caught it. I know a lot of people tuned in at the normal prelim time and realizing that they missed possibly one of the performances of the year already. And yes, you did. Hopefully, you went back and looked up and saw it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I made 5 picks, just the main card there, and I only got 2 out of 5. So I didn't start the year off well, just right under 500. Only way I can go is up. Actually, I can go a little bit further, but we're gonna go up. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into it. First up, I chose Dusko Todorovic. A lot better to beat Punahele Soriano, and he did not. This ended in the first round, and Dusko, I mean, he had his hands down. He was trying to dodge punches, and it wasn't working. I'm like, bro, you're not fast enough. He stayed getting clipped. Punahele, he had some serious power. We were looking to see his wrestling, but I think he was like, no, let me go ahead and fill out this stand-up game, and since this guy's not going to protect himself, I'm going to keep dropping him, which he did. He dropped him several times. The final time, it was a straight left, dropped him a couple of shots later. I don't even actually... If there was a shot later, the ref stopped the fight. It was a good stoppage. Who would you like to see Punahele Soriano fight next? Next up, I chose Joaquin Buckley to beat Alessio Di Chirico. He did not. This also ended in the first round. It seemed like Buckley, I don't want to say he underestimated him, but it seemed like he was trying to make another highlight reel for himself, because if check out his highlight reel performance with this super kick knockout. He wasn't trying to set things up. He seemed a bit rushed. It seemed like Alessio used that against him. He landed quite a few shots before he landed a kick to the face in the first round, which dropped him one shot later. Ref stopped the fight. Good stoppage. Who would you like to see next for Alessio Di Chirico? Now, real quick, I just wanted to open up a small conversation, which he opened up. He did not do an interview in the octagon. He's kind of said it right there to John Anik, but you actually couldn't really quite hear exactly with the accent and everything what he was saying. So when he went to the post-press conference, you really could understand it. And he said, basically, I'm not going to do the interview because I don't think it's fair that you don't interview the fighter who loses the fight, that you only interview the winner. He said it takes 2 to put on the fight. It's not cool that you only interview the winner. He's talking about in the octagon right after the fight. So I just wanted to bring this up real quick, see what your thoughts was on this. There were some comments saying, yeah, stand-up guy, way to take a stand. You're right, they're both warriors. Real quick, my thoughts is, for one, they actually do interview some people who lose the fight in the octagon afterwards. In fact, on this exact same card in the main event, they interviewed the person who lost the fight in the octagon. So, just right off top, they do sometimes do that. 2, they do interview the people who lose the fights right outside. You go out of the octagon, right backstage, there's someone there immediately to interview you if you're capable of an interview. And then in the post-press conference, you can choose to go to it. Some people who lose don't, some people who do. That's the, which brings me to my next point. There is a lot of people, when they lose the fight, quite frankly, they don't want to do an interview. And I'm not saying this is speculation. I'm saying this because they will literally run out of the octagon, bypass that person who's backstage, and not show up to the post-press conference, which would lead you to believe they don't want to talk after they just lost that fight. And finally, because although I do understand what he's saying as far as, like, you know, it takes 2 to put on a fight, which is true, which is also in the main event why the person who lost was also interviewed, because that octagon interview is basically, I always feel like it's earned. It's something that you earn. You either earn it because you won the fight, or you earned it because even though you lost, you put on a heck of a performance like we saw in the main event, or you've already made yourself a name. You're a star. There's plenty of stars who, even when they lose, they still get interviewed, because like Nate Diaz, when he loses a fight, he still gets interviewed. Why? Because he's Nate Diaz. He's already earned that by making himself a name. If you retire and you lose, you're going to get interviewed. Also, if you're the hometown hero, you may not have your record may not think that you've earned it, but because you've got this fanfare, your fans have earned that interview for you. The UFC is going to give them what they want. Thank you for paying to see this fight. We know you want to hear from your hometown hero, so we're going to go ahead and interview him even though he lost. So, in conclusion, they do interview people who lose, just not necessarily inside the octagon. And the ones that they do, it's basically because they earned it, whether it be because of the name that they already have, being the hometown thing, or they put on such a performance in a loss that we want to hear from them anyway. So it's something that you earn. I actually don't think that you should automatically interview someone who lost the fight. Again, a lot of them don't actually want to talk. Even if they're capable of talking, a lot of them don't want to talk. It kind of feels a little participation trophy-ish to me. So, what are your thoughts on that? Should you always interview both fighters, even the person who lost, whether they put on a good performance, whether or not they earned it through having a big name or the hometown thing? You know what I mean? What do you think about that? All right, next, moving on. The next fight that I lost. Speaking of, I chose Santiago Ponzinibbio to beat Jing Liang, and he did not. This also ended in the first round. As you know, Santiago had been out for 2 rounds, and you could actually see it. He was quite small, a lot smaller than he normally is. Also, we're used to actually kind of a higher offensive output from him. I don't know if he was just trying to take his head off, because he actually kind of talked it up himself, so he was going to come out and demolish Lee and get himself right back where he was, because he was on a 7-fight win streak. I actually was wrong in my prediction video. And but with 2 years off, and he went through staph infections, he had a bone disease type issue. He had some stuff that really drains like your body, your essence, something that I'd almost rather break a leg than to actually have the issues that he had for the last 2 years. You see what I'm saying? So he came back and kind of looked like he was trying to take his head off. Lee, who's been getting better this entire time, fought smart. And DC called it. He was like, if Ponzinibbio overcommits on these shots and misses, Lee's going to come around with a looping shot and make him pay for it. And that's basically exactly what happened. Overcommitted, missed a shot. Lee came with a looping left, put him on his butt. About a shot later into the fight. Good stoppage. Great win for Lee. Great win for Lee, who's probably finally going to be ranked. So who would you like to see him fight next? Now, co-main event, and finally, a fight that I got. I chose Carlos Condit to beat Matt Brown, and he did. Unanimous decision, although I don't really agree with the scoring. The first round, I thought Matt won. He was able to take him down, hold him there, ground and pound, opened him up and everything. He had like 3.5 minutes damn there, over 3 minutes of ground control. And even on the feet, he actually started first. He landed some good shots. I don't see how he wasn't given the first round, because all 3 judges had it 30-27. Anyway, second round, it was Carlos who was able to take him down, mount some nice ground and pound himself. He opened him back up. It seemed like Matt, just his cardio, you could see it wane even in that second round. It just seemed like Carlos had more left, and so he was able to have be more skillful. If you've got more energy left, you can execute your game plan better. Matt, being seemingly tired, he was a lot more sloppy. He wasn't able to be aggressive. He wasn't able to jump on him like he was in that first round. So the second and third round went to Carlos. Again, all 3 judges had it 30-27. And I don't understand how you didn't give Matt Brown that first round. So comment on that, because that was weird. And let me know who you think Carlos Condit should fight next. Apparently, that was his last fight on the contract. When Dana White was asked afterwards what's going on with that, he said, I don't know. Because he said, everybody loves Carlos Condit. He is a legend, and we'll have to talk to him. He said he didn't even know that was the last fight on his contract. So I don't know what you can make of that. Let me know if you've heard anything, and let me know who you think Carlos Condit should fight next. If he should stay, if he should go. Let me know. All right, on to the main event, and I got this pick too. I chose the former UFC featherweight champion Max Blessed Holloway to beat Calvin Kattar, who I was like, man, Max got to be on his game. Man, Calvin is dangerous. Man, he gonna be bigger. Man, Max whooped Calvin's behind for 5 rounds. This was probably, he even said it, probably his best performance to date. He did look like a video game. He broke countless records we'll get to at the end. Let's go ahead and get into this. He was all over him. Give you all the thing. White on rice, cheese on broccoli, sand on the beach. He had an average of over 200 and some odd shots per round here, y'all. He head, body, feet. He did check the kicks. Calvin couldn't even get started. He couldn't even get started. Mashes. The body shots, working the body the entire time. First round, Max. Second round, really Max. Really pouring it on. Really dictating the pace. Calvin couldn't get started. He was up against that cage. The second round by 2, I was like, Second round by 2. Third round, more of the same. Calvin, this is when he actually started to open up a little bit. Actually, he opened up Max a little bit. You did see a little bit of that power, but he really couldn't do anything more but catch him with a shot here, 2 shots here. Basically, like, back up off me. Back up off me. And even in that back up off me, he was, like I said, he was able to cut up with Max Holloway, but he really couldn't mount any kind of offense. He couldn't get started. He couldn't move forward because Max was all over him. Okay, fourth round. This round also a 10-8. I thought this round could have been a 10-7, but I think one of the judges gave 2, 3, and 4 by 10-8. We'll talk about the score in a second. Fourth round though, another 10-8 round. Max all over him. This time he's starting to shake. He did a little pop, pop. We're starting to see the charisma, the entertainer in Max, because he's super loose now. And he had an even higher offensive output than he realized. He said he went back to the corner after the third round and was like, I'm feeling kind of tired. I ain't never feel, why am I so tired? Then after the fight, he realized, oh, snap. I broke records. Fourth round, got a 2-piece to the body. And that's Calvin kind of crumpled. Went up against the cage, and Max started to unload. Elbows to the face, uppercuts, more body shots, knee to the face. Oh my God, I thought this was done. In fact, Herb could have stopped it. He could have stopped it. There was 2 flurries up against the fence where Herb could have stopped it. But as they say, the refs, they know the fighters. They go off of their feeling, and knowing that Calvin is as tough as he is, he let it keep going. And I'm kind of mixed feelings on that, because I'm glad that he did, because the highlight reel moment we got in the 5th. But the amount of damage that Calvin took, broken nose, possibly a broken rib, bloody. By the first round he was bloody here. By the second round he was bloody here. By the third round, cuts in the head over bloody here. Okay, so on to the 5th round. He survived that 4th round. On to the 5th round. He was trying to get his little shots in. Again, trying to get him off me. He showed that true warrior nation, true spirit, because he didn't even actually go down. All of that damage, he never touched the ground. Max didn't actually drop him. There's a couple of times, I think in this round and in the 4th, where he went for a couple of takedowns himself, because he was like, let me get up off me. And he couldn't, of course, take Max down. And in this 5th round, we got one of the most amazing MMA, dare I say, combat sports moments I've ever seen. So out of all the trash talking that Calvin was doing, this is when Max decided to really start to kind of throw that back at everybody else. He is talking to the announce table now. He says to the announce table, I'm the best fighter, I'm the best boxer in the UFC, while looking at them, no look, right jab, to the face of Calvin, connects. As he's looking at the announcer, I'm the best fighter or boxer in the UFC, connects, still talking to the announcers as he's dodging punches from Calvin. I was out of my seat, jumping, screaming at the TV. This was on ABC. Screaming at the TV. This was one of the most awesome moments I've ever seen. One of the most entertaining moments I've ever seen in a damn fight. He said, I'm the best boxer in the UFC. Who the freshman? Cash money shit. Who the freshman? Clock. Who the freshman? Amazing. I'm sweating. It was amazing. So he won the fight. The scores were 50-43, 50-43, and 50-42, y'all. Okay? So broke so many records. Most significant shots landed in a fight in UFC history, all weight classes. Most shots attempts period, UFC history. Most significant shot attempts period, UFC history. Most shots per round attempted and landed, history. Most significant shots landed to the head and body, history, the whole thing. As far as most time in the octagon for the featherweight. Longest winning streak with 12. Most wins with 17. Most knockouts in the... Someone said he's already secured his place in the Hall of Fame, and he just turned 29 last month. And as Dana has already said whoever wins the Volkanovski Ortega fight, that Max will probably get the winner of that. He's already earned another title shot. The Max blessed Holloway. He's just so about that life. He has somehow found to thread the needle between being extremely confident, yet being able to still show his humbleness. He's a family guy. He loves his kids. He happens to be charming. Like, who doesn't like Max Holloway? Oh, okay. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. Again, I got 2 out of 5. That's it, y'all. There's 2 more events, so be looking out for that because I will be doing a prediction on the main event, on the Wednesday event, and then plus the next first pay-per-view of the year. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe, like, talk to me again about what I brought out about old boy's conversation about not interviewing both fighters, about Max's performance, Calvin's performance, the whole 9 Santiago coming back after 2 years, and you know what I mean? Lots to talk about here. Any injury updates? Incredible event, first event back. Talk to me. Take care. Goodbye.